Hey everyone, thanks for watching again. I'm here today with Malia from Malia B Studio. I've known Malia for a while. She took the newborn and maternity photos for my 5-year-old. So I am so excited because I've seen her grow from everything in her SUV and hustling to now she's got this beautiful studio, which we may take some video, some B-roll later. But yeah, I'm here with Malia. So we're going to ask her a couple of questions. Again, the idea for this podcast, this video, is really to maybe help inspire some of those that are listening that maybe they've got this side hustle, maybe they've got this small business that they want to scale or they want to try to do something, but maybe are a little bit afraid to take that step, right? So the whole goal of this is to talk to business owners that are real people, not the people you see on TV that drive the fancy cars, but the people that are able to run a successful business and actually also be with their family. That's something that you're trying to do more and more of. But yeah, so that being said, I've got a few questions for Malia. Thank you again for being here.
Having me.
So the first question is going to be, what is your origin story?
So my origin story is that years and years and years ago, I actually was a teacher. And so I was an elementary school teacher. And as you can imagine, teachers don't make a lot of money. But it wasn't about the money, obviously. It was. But I started dabbling into entrepreneurship. I co-owned a wedding event florist with a friend of mine, and it was just something we did on the side for a hobby. What happened is I really loved the business part of it, not necessarily arranging. And then I was taking photos of our flowers, and brides were saying, "Ooh, can I have those photos?" Instead of the photographer having the photos. So I started taking pictures of my kids, and the rest is kind of history as far as photography of that. So I really loved the children and babies in photography, and I was working full-time as a teacher and then working half-time on my side hustle, which was photography. And like you said, in my SUV, I would literally load up all of my crap. Can we say crap? Yeah. I would literally load up all of my crap into my SUV, pack it high. I was bins and bags, and it was insane. And I came to Reggie's house.
Yeah. And, well, first of all, before, but yeah, she had everything in that SUV. I'll never forget it, with the pipes, all of that stuff.
Pipes.
But one thing that's amazing about you is I remember how detailed you were to Tiffanys, saying, okay, this is what we need. We need the temperature in the house to do this. We need this. Like, it was down to a science, and I kept saying, what? The temperature? Like, what? Blew me away of the details that she had down. I was like, this is crazy, but it worked, right? So the photos that we have are awesome. So anyway, sorry, but yes.
No. That's because sometimes I think you forget where you came from too. So I love this question. But after I did that, I did it for about 4 years, and then getting older and convincing my husband that I could make more money doing that and have more freedom with my kids, I quit teaching and kind of made that jump, and then did full-time photography, and still was on the road traveling and doing all that. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I have to either have a place or we have to move, and I need a studio. And he was like, what? We're like, you're literally asking me to uproot everything, or spend all this money. And I said yes, because I can make it work. Like, it had to work. I didn't have a plan B after I quit teaching. I wasn't going to go back. And so it was kind of do or die at that point. And we ended up moving. And so, because that was the better route anyways for our family, our house was getting smaller. So we found a house. It was a great little studio I had. I think in passing I said, I'm only going to be here a year. I really think I want a studio. Almost a year to the date, I found this place that I'm in now. And he was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna mistrust you. If you say you're gonna you're gonna do it." And so I opened the studio here. This is cool. And ever since I opened it, I always knew it wasn't going to be just mine. And so I really wanted to open a place for other creatives as well. Kind of where I was in that journey of, I did it as a side hustle, but I didn't really know how to take it to that next step of making it a full time or making it just more predominant for my lifestyle and my family. And so what's nice about the studio now is that I run it as a co-op in a shared space, And so other creative business owners can come in and they can rent it from me, you know, on a minimal value and time basis, and grow their business. And we've been open for 2 years, and so it's been awesome.
I mean, I get the chills thinking about, because like I said, you know, it's one of those where I saw you in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and now you've got a studio,
cool.
now you're doing the co-op thing, and like I said, this space is really, really cool. No, I think that's really awesome. Now, you know, one of the things that we talked about before was, you know, the other question I'll ask is, you know, what is your why? Because I know that just in general, right, it's not going to go smoothly, you know, all the time, but I think that, you know, your why is that thing that kind of keeps you pushing forward. But yeah, so what you tell me, what is your why?
Yeah, so I feel like, I'll just be completely honest, my why has changed over the years.
Sure.
And I feel that when I was first starting packing the car, it was different from what I'm doing now. But if I really look back, my why now still pertained to everything that I was doing in the past. I just redefined it. It's kind of like our business motto, right? So really my why now is just to leave a legacy, and like just to show my kids that that you can make an impact in anything you do. So whether you want to be a bank teller, well, we're talking about entrepreneurship, but whether you want to be a bank teller, like you said, like make quilts on the side and do that, but somehow just leaving that legacy for my children, and to see that it was impactful, and that they don't just have to do the 9 to 5. Like if they can dream it, they can have it. So that's really, I know that sounds so like fairy and like light and love of the world, but like sometimes I'm like, let's just make it simple, because in the beginning when I was teaching, I was like, my why was just literally to get out of teaching and like do something that allowed me more flexibility. And so I think as I went on, I really just defined like, well, what really, why do I do this? So if I quit tomorrow, like I would be devastated that my kids would like see me as like a failure or something, or like,
you know,
that would kill me.
This is crazy. This is nothing to do with entrepreneurship or anything like that. But I get the chills because that's kind of my thing, right? Why I do all the things that I'm doing. You know, some people think it's crazy, but I know my kids see that as like I'm trying to do things to help people to do better, right? But one of the things, I'd be interested to hear what you say, maybe off this, but a coworker of mine a couple years ago, she grew up with like, I don't know, 7 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I'm not that far off, but she said, well, every once in a while, her mom would ask her, how do you know, or ask every kid, how do you know I love you?
Aww.
And I did that to my 2 older ones, the 10-year-old to Ian and Diego. And I was like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And
cross my fingers.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm like, okay, they're going to say, well, because you buy us candy, you buy us toys, right? Because that's what you think.
You think at that age.
And it was maybe a year ago, I asked him, and the older one said, because we play catch and we hang out, right? And then the 5-year-old said, Diego said, because you give me hugs.
Oh, I love that.
Right? But, you know, and again, I know your kids are older, but just, I'd be curious to know, because, you know, we have this perception of we do these things because I want to do this, whatever, but there might be other things too that the kids are really paying more attention to, that they might say, okay, my mom, she worked her butt off, but you know what? She made time for us, right? It's not like she's doing this business and she's not spending time with me.
Right.
She's doing something she loves to do. She's helping other people, and she spends time with us. So anyways, I'm curious to know, like, if you know, what kind of answer they give you.
Gosh, well, you know, now they're teenagers, so God forbid what they would say as a teenager.
But
it brings up an interesting point too, because I think there's those moments, but then there's the moments of like, what am I not, like, or what am I doing that's not contributing to that too. And I remember my daughter used to tell me I spent too much time on the computer. She's like, I spend so much time, and I just had this, like, obviously it was an emotional breakdown at the time, like, you know, evening drinking wine, talking to my husband, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible mom. But it was, I didn't want her to remember the back of my head. I wanted her to remember what I did and how I made her feel and people feel. And so that was a real kick in the pants of, like, sometimes when in entrepreneurship, like, we do kind of hyper focus on one thing, we forget our why. We forget our bigger picture. So like you said, it always is definitely the thing that comes back, like circles back around for us. That keeps us going.
No, I hear you. I remember there was a time, I was the same way, where I was just like always on my phone, right? Always on my phone. Didn't matter where we were. I was checking, I don't know what I was doing, right? But,
right. Do we remember?
But yeah, but and I remember consciously saying to myself, I'm not going to do that, right? If I'm watching my kids' football game, I'll have it out to take a picture or two or whatever, but I'm not just going to be like this the whole time.
Yep,
anyways,
absolutely.
That's an awesome why,
Yeah.
leaving that legacy for your kids. I think that's awesome. Let's see, the third question I have is, now this, you can go a different way with this. So there's really kind of two parts, if you will. One is, what's that one piece of advice you would give yourself before you did any of this? And then the other is, what kind of advice would you give to the people out there that are watching or that are listening that have that side hustle that maybe are too afraid to take that step?
Gosh, so I was thinking about this question, and I get how it can go two different ways. I think the first thing that literally just pops into my mind is to not take yourself so seriously.
That's a good
And
one.
I think that could go for me to tell myself that in the beginning, and then also for somebody new. Just don't take yourself so seriously, because it literally usually isn't a matter of life or death, and we make it that way.
Right.
And
That's a good point.
and that kind of also is my second motto of just making things simple, and to simplify things. Kind of goes into that. When you don't make yourself so seriously, you can usually look for the simple answer, or the clarity comes to you about that. So I guess those two things are what I would tell myself, and then also somebody new is don't take yourself so seriously. It's gonna work out.
I love it.
Because who wants to meet and collaborate with somebody who's so like that.
I love it. No, that's a great piece of advice. So, all right. So now I've asked all the serious questions. So I have
We're not
on
gonna
my
take ourselves seriously.
I have here kind of a random question generator.
Okay.
So we don't know what it's gonna be, and so I'm just gonna hit this button on here, and then we'll see.
Let's do it.
Maybe we'll see.
I like it. Let's do it.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, here's a good one. It says, the question is, if you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you had done?
Oh my gosh.
That's a good question. Oh my God.
This is silly, because I'm that girl who never got in trouble. So it's so funny that you asked me
so
that.
weird.
What would I do? I'd probably...
What do they assume?
What would they assume?
Yeah, they said, oh my God, Malia's been arrested. What would they say? Oh my God, she did this.
Maybe if I had too many drinks or something, and I went streaking or something.
Oh my God. See, that's on camera, so maybe someday her kids will get to see that.
Or went to a concert and
okay, well that's more reasonable. I mean, I think that would make sense.
Not that my family thinks I do that. They'd be like, well, what could she do? Maybe she said something inappropriate, or showed something
they must have the wrong person.
inappropriate.
They must have the wrong
totally.
person. Awesome. No, thank you. So now the question is just really how can people get a hold of you to be a part of this? Like I said, I'll have probably some videos, some additional video maybe, and some pictures at least. But how can they reach you and the collective and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually pivoting with the collective to make its own kind of entity and site and everything like that. So right now you can actually just reach me with maliabphotography.com, or on Instagram it's maliabphoto. We actually do have a Instagram for the collective. It's the collective studio_AZ. And that's how you can reach me.
Awesome. And I'll have those, the profiles and account stuff wherever the description is, whether it's on YouTube. Click on it, subscribe. Don't forget to do that. iTunes, Spotify, whatever platform you're using, please subscribe. That would be awesome. Like I said, we'll come back and we'll do a couple of things as well. But thanks again for listening and or for watching. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.